major update around the Saints head coaching search, and I am going to break it down in this late night edition of Saints Now by Chat Sports. Welcome in to another video. My name is Trace Gerard. Thank you so much for tuning in. No matter where you are or how you're watching, let's break it down. Friendly reminder to subscribe to the channel. We have been covering this head coaching search nonstop. Early mornings, late nights, multiple videos a day. I mean, the coverage has been insane. So if you want more updates, you want more news, be sure to subscribe because I think this decision is coming soon. But if you need another reason, I got a treat for my boy, dude, because he's been such a good boy. Here you go. There, sub for a treat for dude, because maybe I'll give him another one at the end of the video. Alrighty, let's talk about it. Mike McCarthy. He has just pulled his name from the Saints head coaching search. And that report coming in from Jordan Schultz. Exactly what he said was sources. Mike McCarthy did not garner the interest from the Saints that he anticipated. And it's starting to seem like the Eagles offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, is the leader in the clubhouse in New Orleans. Mike McCarthy backs out before being shut out. Now, I personally believe that this is good news. I think that the Saints should go and hire Kellen Moore. But really quick, I'm going to talk about Kellen Moore to a great extent. First, though, I want to discuss Mike McCarthy. It's not like that would have been a bad hire. He served as the offensive coordinator from 2000 to 2004, so there is some familiarity there. But he does have an overall win percentage of 60%, 185 to 123 to 2. He's the 12th winningest head coach in NFL history, so ultimately, I think this would have been an okay decision, but it definitely wasn't the sexy decision. It wasn't the one that would have sparked the fan base. It's not the one that would have jarred everyone's feelings. It would have just really pissed people off more than anything. And to be totally honest, I'm okay with the fact that Mike McCarthy will not be the head coach. Now, Nick Underhill, he did report that the Saints actually never scheduled anything with McCarthy. The two sides had planned to talk this week, and it just never happened. So, that is interesting. That is worth noting. And, I think that there is something to say that the Saints had their Kellen Moore meeting before Mike McCarthy. So it feels like Mike McCarthy was a fallback. It feels like this entire time, Mike McCarthy's been a fallback. But in 2026, don't get it twisted, Mike McCarthy will be a highly sought-after head coaching target. Ultimately, I think this is a good decision for the Saints. Mike McCarthy, I guess. It's not like the Saints are a desirable situation. It's not like they would have made his life any easier. All that being said, I do think Kellen Moore is the right candidate for the guy. My take this entire time has been I want a young offensive mind. I want somebody who's bright. I want somebody who is going to be creative. I want somebody who can connect with players. And Kellen Moore, he was a Boise State quarterback. He was a legend as a quarterback in college football. Didn't have much of a professional career, but a college football legend. Don't get it twisted. He also is 6 months older than Demario Davis. Oh, and also if he's hired at 36 years old, he would be the youngest head coach in the National Football League. So if you want to have a young offensive mind, why not go and get the youngest offensive mind? Sure, it isn't Joe Brady. He didn't want to come to the Saints. It's not Ben Johnson. He didn't want to come to the Saints. It's not Aaron Glenn. He didn't want to come to the Saints. Kellen Moore might want to come to the Saints. That might be enough to get him the job. I'm going to talk about more from Ian Rappaport. I'm going to talk more about other head coaching updates around Kafka, Anthony Weaver, everything that's going on here. But really quick, I want to give a shout out to Game Time for sponsoring today's video. Game Time is an awesome ticketing app. I've been able to create so many memories in 2025 already, and you can too if you download the Game Time app. And if you use code CHATSPORTS, you actually get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply with that, by the way. But if you want to download Game Time, make sure you check out the Game Time Picks feature. They have an excellent way to help you filter out the fluffs. That way you don't have to waste time searching through tickets. Like, I'm somebody who prides myself in being a procrastinator, and I'm somebody who prides myself in saying, you know what, I wait till the last second. I do not want to waste time. So Game Time Picks helps me filter out all the fluff. It helps me get tickets very easily. And for better value, for sports, concerts, comedy show, theater, and everything in between. They also have really good features such as the all-in pricing. They have the lowest price guarantee. And on top of that, you have game time ticket coverage, meaning your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. And I'll tell you what, their customer service is second to none. I've had to use them before. They help me every single time I've needed them. Shout out to Game Time. Absolutely love this app. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Download the Game Time app. Use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. That's just a friendly reminder. Link is in the comments and description of this video, but that's code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. Alrighty, so with Kellen Moore, I want to talk about what to expect because it feels like this is going to be the hire. And honestly, just kind of another reminder to subscribe. We're going to be going live when this hire does become official. And to be honest, I think this is something that could happen by the end of the week. The Eagles offense, they are 8th overall in total offense. They're 31st in passing, but that's because they didn't throw the ball all that much because they didn't really need to. Jalen Hurts was okay this year, but Saquon Barkley was a freak of nature this year. They were number 2 in rushing offense. They would have been number 1, but they sat all their starters in the last week of the season, and the Ravens took over. They were 7th in scoring. I mean, with Kellen Moore, he's a guy who every place he's been has been creative. Every place he's been has adapted to the personnel. Every place he's been has appealed to the strengths on the roster. So I like the idea of getting Kellen Moore. I think that he would be a good hire. I think he'd bring a spark. I think he'd bring some energy. I think he'd bring some youthful vibrance to a team that, quite frankly, needs it. The New Orleans Saints are in a spot right now with Mickey Loomis where they're in a bad cap situation. You have some good draft capital, but you have an older roster. You don't know what you're doing with your quarterback situation. So if I'm Kellen Moore, I'm coming in here and I'm saying, do I either A, roll with what we got, which is not horrible. Derek Carr isn't the best thing in the whole wide world, but it's not terrible. Or do I completely shake shit up and maybe go sign Justin Fields? Maybe I draft Ashton Jinty in round 1. I mean, I'm not the only one who said it. Ross Jackson has said it. He even shouted me out for saying, that's my boy. Ross is one of my homies. I've tried to tell y'all that. Friend of the show. Looking forward to seeing Ross in New Orleans, by the way, for the Super Bowl, if he's out there. Long story short, I just think with the Saints, it just makes too much sense. Sure, the players want Darren Rizzi, and I can understand why. However, I think that bringing something in new would be a good decision. And I think bringing in somebody like Kellen Moore, who quite frankly just isn't going to be some old, retreaded coach. He's a new, youthful guy. He'll bring energy. He can bring swagger. I think that Kellen Moore might be the right option. I mean, he was a legend as a quarterback in Boise State. I can't remember if I said this earlier, but he was a legend as a quarterback at Boise State. He was unbelievable. He quickly has climbed the head coaching rankings or the coaching rankings throughout the NFL. From quarterback coach to OC to another OC spot to another OC spot. I mean, he's been in charge of some very successful offenses. And I don't want us to sit here and look back at one crappy year behind Brandon Staley, which never was going to work, and say that's the end all be all. Ultimately, I want Kellen Moore, but what about you? Let me know, Saints fans, down in the comment section. And friendly reminder again, subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss any updates. We're going to be discussing everything up until the point of the Saints making their decision. And on top of that, we're also just going to be hanging out in New Orleans during the Super Bowl. I'm going to be up on and down Radio Row. Going to be doing some street interviews up and down Bourbon Street and Canal and all that fun stuff. Just kind of thought I just came to my mind because I totally forgot to address this. Mike Kafka, Marshall Green, Harrison Graham, I know you're watching. Please, for the love of God, not Mike Kafka. He talked to media today at the Senior Bowl. He is one of the coaches out there. Obviously, he is a candidate for the New Orleans Saints head coaching position. He really wants that job. He really, really wants that job. And I think with Mike Kafka, it would not be a great idea. But I do think if you do hire Mike Kafka, that's one of those in like a year or 2 years, you're probably doing this whole thing over again. So ultimately, I like the idea of Kellen Moore. Anthony Weaver, we haven't really even talked about him. Ian Rappaport said that those interviews went better than expected. The reports around him are that everything's going good with Anthony Weaver. Like, I'd like that option. I'd like that idea. Again, I think I want Kellen Moore the most. So, as promised, I knew you guys would hit the sub button. I made you wait. So here's that treat. Dude, want another treat, buddy? He's saying thank you. He said thanks, Who Dat Nation. All righty. Saints fans, get some sleep. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Got updates. We're going live around 4:30 Central Time unless there's some crazy updates. But, I just can't tell you enough. Thank you guys for hanging out with us throughout this head coaching search. It has been a long process, but we're not done yet. And we're going to be here until we are. So, Who Dat Nation, y'all stay golden. We will see you next time.